Well, what you can see right here is a bunch of PVC pipe on the ground. You know how much I love my PVC pipe. But what this is this is a practice station. And this practice station is designed to help you improve. The improvement is going to come from the consistency of what you do before you put the club into motion. And so what I've got here is I've got a bunch of alignment sticks, if you will. They're just called PVC pipe. So I've got an alignment stick for my the toe line. I've got an alignment stick for my feet. I've got an alignment stick for the angle of the shot that I'm trying to hit. So right now I'm just trying to hit a straight shot at the flag. So this is going to be parallel to the center line. This out here is going to be parallel to that strike line or that target line or the center line, which would be a center line coming right out of about here, going down like that, right towards the target. And then what it allows me to do is it allows me to put the ball in the exact same spot every time. It's going to measure my distance to the ball every single time, and it's going to allow me to be consistent. Now, we beg for consistency, but we don't understand how to get there. Consistency is going to come in the form of what you do consistently before you put the club into motion to create consistency. So let's talk about some of these things that are set up here in this practice station. First is the club face. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the club face in here like this, and I'm going to put the leading edge right in line with this PVC pipe that's coming out of here. So I have it there like that. Now I'm going to grip that club, put it in here like this, and I'm going to go, man, that, like, for some of you, that club is going to look very open. I don't know if you got a close-up shot of that. And that right there, when I look at it, right now, believe it or not, it looks a little bit open to me, which is great. So now I know that a little open is really square. And when I hit my shot, what I think is a shot that kind of goes at my target and maybe has a little bit of fade movement too. So let's take a shot up to the front and see what we got out of this. Because what we got out of this is we got a golf ball that spun just 213 RPMs to the right. So the club face being square to open for me is exactly what I want. Now, pull that full, and what you're going to see is the shot shape does exactly what I want. Again, it has a little bit of movement, and for those of you that hit that shot, like better players might call that a fade. For most of us, we would call that a straight shot. So straight is good, and I'm going to be happy with that one. So what that allows me to do is check my club face every time. So I start always with the club face. So I put that in like that. Club face is now square. Now we pull that in there like that. Club face looks a little open, so I know it's a little square. Make that swing, and what I get another shot that's kind of going at my target. Very good results. Okay, now, the second thing that I'm doing is I'm ensuring my ball position, right? So right here, I've got a 6-iron. In order for me to strike the ball solidly with that 6-iron, I want to make sure that golf ball is kind of off of my left eye. To get it off my left eye, that PVC pipe that's in the middle has to favor the left side of my body or towards my left foot. So when I get in here like this, now I know when I look down, hey, okay, that's exactly where I need my 6-iron to be. It's a little bit forward. If I go to a pitching wedge, so I go to a pitching wedge here, now I want that to be right in the middle. So now all of a sudden, hey, wow, that's the middle of my stance. And now I'm hitting a shot again. Very, very straight shot, right at my target. Not a lot of curve to that ball. Can't wait to see what the spin rate on that one is. Yeah, very straight. And look at the result. Another slight little brush cut, which I love. So now I've got this figured out where I've got my ball position. And again, this is where the club that you're using is going to tell you where the ball should be. Simple thoughts. If I have more loft, I want it back in my stance, never past middle. And if I have less loft, I want it forward in my stance, never past the outside of the shoulder. I like to play it sort of, if I have a driver, I might be off the armpit. Right around the logo is where I prefer it. Everybody can be a little bit different in that space. But if I'm going to hit a driver, my driver is going to look something like this. So go ahead up the body there, Gibbsy. Yeah. So my driver is going to look somewhere like that. And if you were to take this pipe, if I took this PVC pipe and folded this up this way, and I got set up, you would see that that's pointing right about to the logo on my shirt there, okay? So we put that back down like that. I check this. Club face is square. Now I check ball position. That's right where I want it. Now I look up. My swing, and I get the ball to start on the line that I want it to start on with a little bit of a brush cut on that one, okay? All right, now, the final thing that I'm using my practice station for is this. And it can be a little bit challenging to get the golf ball in there, but you can do it. So here's what you're going to do. So now you're going to work on distance to the ball. Okay, remember I told you about a pitching wedge. So if I go pitching wedge here, and I set up to that ball, which again is about a club head inside that PVC pipe there, my pitching wedge, my toes are about 1 inch off of that PVC pipe that's right there, okay? So I get set up about 1 inch, and I want to be about 1 inch. And you can actually mark your PVC pipe if you decide to set this thing up, which I highly encourage you to do. You just mark everything. So your pitching wedge now, about 1 inch off of that. When I get to the 6-iron, now all of a sudden, and let me do this first because I want to show you something interesting. So if I take the pitching wedge and the 6-iron, you can see there's about a 2-inch difference between those two clubs. It should typically be about a 1/2 inch from club to club to club. So if I go pitching wedge, I'll just make up a number. Let's say the pitching wedge is at 0. 9-iron would be at 1/2. 8-iron would be at 1. 7-iron would be at 1 1/2. 6-iron would be 2 inches. So you're gaining that 1/2 inch for every golf club. So now when I get to where I'm 2 inches longer with the 6-iron, believe it or not, I'm going to pick up 2 inches more. So instead of being 1 inch off of that, I'm going to be about 3 inches off of that, maybe 3 1/2. It's not absolute, but it's a good ballpark guess. So now I'm in here like that. Good address. This is a very, very good strike. I had good ball speed. I had a good swing on that one. That one there's right around the target. And that one there had about 600 RPMs of right spin. There's a good look at the shot. So I had my little brush fade there, exactly what I want. Now, here's the next part to this whole thing, okay? And I'm going to talk to you about one other thing, but I want to jump in here first. If you're somebody that likes to fade the ball, these should not be going at the target. They should be going a little bit to the left. For a right-handed golfer, they should be going a little to the left of the target. If I were hitting draws, just little draws like that, it would be going a little to the right of the target. So you have to make sure that your shot shape works with how you position yourself. I don't want the center line to be going right at the target if I'm hitting a cut. What I want is I want the center line to be going left of my target for a right-handed golfer because I want to cut the ball back to the target. So when I'm hitting these shots, I kind of want them to start on the line of the target and then move to the right off of that. That's the shot shape that I like to hit. Now, the final part of this is this. Distance to the golf ball, okay? So, again, I'm about 1 club off of that PVC pipe there. When I am getting into this, and remember before I told you that I was about a club head or another 2 inches off of that 1 inch spot that I had there. So when I get in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bounce in. So I bounce in here like this, and I feel where the weight is in my feet. I don't want to be up here with a 6-iron. That's my pitching wedge. And if I get in here when I'm there, now back out of that, Gibbsy, what you can see is how I'm pushed back. And all of a sudden when I'm pushed back in here, like I can't really make a good solid fluid motion because I'm too close to the ball. The same thing is also true that if I get too far from the ball, now all of a sudden I'm going to be tight to it. So I get in here like this, and now I'm bent over. Now my body is restricted. And now when I come into here, that swing is better than being too close. But again, it prevents me from making a full motion. So while I felt like I made a full motion there, the ball didn't go anywhere, and it pulled, it hooked. And what you can see is that ball actually spins to the left-hand side. And so that's because the toe of the club is in the air because I'm too far from the ball, and then I can't rotate out of the way, so the club flips over, and I've got it going to the left. So what I like to do and what I like to teach my students is this. you're going to use the bounce of your feet as you're coming in here. This is what I call the bounce or a dance step. But you're going to use that bounce to feel where the weight is in your foot. And what you're also doing is you're taking the instep of the foot and make it parallel to this. I don't want to have the foot like that. I want you to come in with the foot square, and then you bring the other foot square, and then you square out like this. Now, from here, if you want to open the feet, you can open the feet. But those are the last parts of getting set up in the right position. I would tell you, come in here, square, go square, square, and then if you want to open up that lead foot, you can open up that. I don't want to see that trail foot open up. I honestly don't want to see it open up at all unless we're trying to get a little bit more freedom in that turn. Okay, so we bounce in just like this, bouncing in square. Now I kind of feel where my foot is. I pull this other one up. That's going to be right where I want it to go, and this is going to drop back. Now, when I pull that other one up, I'm pulling that to the distance off of that post that I want it to be. So remember, 6-iron, I just want that to be slightly more than a club head. Okay? That's through practice. So I'm coming in like this. I'm bouncing in. This comes up slightly more than a club head. Now I go back like that. Now I'm right where I want. I've got my distance to the ball exactly where I want. My club face is right where I want. Ball position is where I want. Make my swing. And now that shot is going down the line the way I want. And the ball speed, let's check the ball speed on this. This is going to be about 116 miles an hour. I got a little draw on that one, so I didn't quite rotate through, but I'm certainly happy with that shot. Now, here's what you do. You set this up and you practice. And you work on your ball position. You work on your weight distribution. You work on that club face. You're not thinking about your swing. I don't want you working on that. I want the consistency of the feet coming into the ball and the distance to the ball and the weight distribution in your feet and all that so that it gives you the right motion. Set up a practice station. I'm telling you, it's the most valuable thing that you can do. You beg for that consistency. You've got to do things consistently. And this is also something that you can do in your house. You don't need to be out hitting golf balls. I could bring a golf ball in here with no intention of hitting it, and I can work on my club face. I can work on my feet coming into this. I can work on my dance step, right? So if we go into a face on, I got my dance step like this. My dance step is 1, 2, 3. And so as I come in here, I'm feeling that weight distribution in that foot as I'm bouncing just like this, and then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And as you start to do this, now you're going to get really consistent with that. And as you get that consistency in the footwork, you get consistency in your weight distribution, you get consistency in your ball position, you get consistency in your club face. Now all of a sudden you have a realistic expectation to make a consistent shot. And when you lose that swing in the middle of your round, chances are your ball position is off, your weight distribution is off, your distance to the ball is off. There's something that's going on before you put the club into motion that is off. So, square the club face. Make sure that you come in with the feet right. Do your little step. Look in there. Let's see if we can get one in there. Push that a little bit to the right-hand side, but it's a very, very nice strike. Has my little soft fade that I like. Distance was pretty good. Ball speed should be right around 115. Yeah, perfect. Right on 115.1. So I got the shape that I'm looking for. Set yourself up a practice station. I promise you it's going to help you. And I know as a result, you'll shoot lower scores.